Many fans of the MMORPG genre are waiting for the next big MMO, a game that will suck them in and make them not want to leave the house for a few weeks. I'm one of those people, but over the past few years we haven't really had a whole lot to be excited about. Arcade was a flop, Blade and Soul's only appeal was the 1v1 PvP, and Black Desert never really lived up to the hype. These disappointments left a lot of MMORPG fans feeling like the genre is dying and there's not much on the horizon to look forward to. Well, in this video I'm going to try and give you a bit of hope by sharing 10 upcoming MMORPGs that I'm personally looking forward to. Please bear in mind that most of these games are still in development and could either end up being massive failures or not even being released. Number 10. Life is Feudal, the MMO. So to clear up some confusion, there's actually 3 Life is Feudal games that are currently being worked on. Life is Feudal Your Own, which is more of a single player experience, Life is Feudal Forest Village, which seems to be a city building game, and Life is Feudal the MMO, which is the one I'm actually excited for, with the beta starting sometime towards the end of 2016. Life is Feudal the MMO will be a hardcore realistic medieval sandbox MMORPG with a complex building system, targetless physics-based combat, free PvP with massive siege events, in-depth crafting system, and a focus on realism and immersion. There's not a whole lot of information out about the MMO version of this game yet, but it seems like it'll be completely open world without any loading screens, and will probably be heavily based on guild vs guild warfare. I'm excited for this game because it looks beautiful and immersive. However, it's not higher on this list due to the limited information and me having a few concerns about higher level players griefing low levels. Number 9. Saga of Leucemia. Saga of Leucemia is an early access high fantasy sandbox MMORPG that I find really interesting due to the fact the game will be entirely based on group content. Apparently there will be 0 solo quests, 8-man groups and multi-group raids to hopefully achieve emergent gameplay. As this is a sandbox MMO, there will also be no quest hubs, no minimap, and a massive open world to explore that the developers want to make feel alive. The game will also feature a classless and skill-based combat system. The creators of Saga of Leucemia want to go back to basics with this MMO and create a challenging experience that relies on teamwork and making friends to overcome challenges that you couldn't overcome on your own, rather than making a single serving on-rails experience in which you reach max level in a couple of days. I really like the idea behind this game, and they're focusing heavily on the most important part of an MMO, which is the multiplayer aspect. Number 8. Pantheon Rise of the Fallen. Pantheon Rise of the Fallen is an open-world fantasy MMORPG that's currently in development from Visionary Realms, which is a dev team led by Brad McQuaid, one of the creators of EverQuest. The game will have 9 playable races, 12 unique classes, an atmosphere and climate system, dynamic encounters, advanced NPC AI, situational gear, the ability to retire your high-level characters to create children with bonus stats, and an emphasis on group content. Future features that are also planned on being added to the game are building outposts, non-instanced housing, and player-run dungeons and regions. So straight away, that's quite a lot of features, and I'm pretty sure there's a few I forgot to mention. These things aren't what has me excited for this game though. It's the design philosophy that Visionary Realms are using to create this game that I really like. If you go to their website, there's a big list of things that they're aware of and want to achieve as a team, such as an awareness that content is king, an understanding that a truly challenging game is truly rewarding, classes should have their own identity, and a belief that an immersive world requires intelligent inhabitants. I agree with all these design philosophies and believe that if Visionary Realms can pull all of these things off, then Pantheon Rise of the Fallen could end up being a really good MMORPG. Number 7. Star Citizen. Star Citizen is one of the most ambitious and heavily crowdfunded games ever. It's raised over $116 million and is a massively multiplayer universe and space simulator that features first-person shooter combat, multiplayer spaceship combat, and the ability to explore hundreds of star systems and planets. The reason this game isn't higher on this list is that I'm not sure if it's really considered an MMORPG, and I don't know how big the multiplayer aspect of it will be as I haven't had the chance to play it yet. Regardless, the things that have me excited for Star Citizen are the space physics, the realism and detail they're going for, the fact they're designing the game to utilize the power of the PC and not downgrade to cater for consoles, and the sheer scope of the game. Star Citizen will also support VR, which could potentially be incredible. If Chris Roberts manages to achieve his vision of creating a first-person universe that allows for unlimited gameplay, then Star Citizen has the potential to be one of the best games ever made. Number 6. Civilization Online. Civilization Online is a very unique MMORPG that's currently in closed beta in Korea. Unlike the traditional Civilization strategy games, Civilization Online is a real-time game in which you join a server, create a single character to control, and help one of 4 factions race from the Stone Age to the Space Age to achieve one of multiple win states, constructing buildings, researching technology, and waging war along the way in a dynamically changing and open world. Civilization Online features hyper-stylized and over-the-top graphics, tab-targeting combat, in-depth character creation, player-created buildings that are constructed by going out and throwing raw materials at them, mounted combat and multiple classes depending on what era you're currently playing in, as well as large-scale PvP combat. As much as I think this game has the potential to be really good, my 2 major concerns are that 1, it's made by XL Games, the developer of Arcade, and we all know how that turned out, and 2, we haven't received any confirmation yet that this game will be coming to the West, which is a shame as it does look pretty good and would probably be decently successful if it doesn't end up being pay to win. Number 5, Camelot Unchained. Camelot Unchained is a crowd-funded, high-fantasy, open-world MMORPG that seems to focus heavily on huge realm-versus-realm warfare and sieges. Now, the biggest concern I had straight away when I heard about this was, wouldn't the frame rate be really bad with all those players running around? And it seems as though the developers had already considered that. What they're doing to combat this issue, however, is create their very own game engine to optimize mass-scale PvP, so you don't need a top-of-the-line gaming PC to run it. Aside from that, Camelot Unchained has 3 factions with a lot of race diversity. According to their website, it would appear as though each faction has 10 different classes, although I'd imagine that some of them will just be different names for the same thing. Another big part of Camelot Unchained is the ability to build your own castles, and from what I can tell, the building tool this game uses seems to be really in-depth and give you a lot of options. The developers of Camelot Unchained have said they want to build this game the right way, from the foundation upwards, and focus on refining core game mechanics before working on improving the graphical fidelity. I'm personally excited for this game because I've always loved the idea of being part of a giant army in an MMO, so hopefully this game will deliver. Number 4, Revelation Online. Revelation Online is a free-to-play Chinese open-world MMORPG that's coming to the West towards the end of 2016 that will be published by my.com. Now, initially I wasn't overly hyped about this game until I watched a few videos from a YouTuber called Cry, who managed to get onto the Eastern version of this game and actually try it out. In his videos, he lists a ton of cool features that the game will have, such as the ability to get married in-game, guild alliances, in-depth character creation, guilds controlling territories and fighting each other in sieges, guild housing, instance 50 vs 50 PvP, 100 vs 100 PvP, open world PvP, 5 vs 5, 10 vs 10 and 20 vs 20 arena, as well as a lot of PvE content such as solo dungeons, group dungeons which have 3 different difficulties, easy, hard and god mode, as well as raids and PvE arenas in which you'll face off against waves of enemies until you die. The combat system in Revelation Online is said to be a mix between Terra and Blade and Soul, so expect fast-paced action combat with a lot of movement. Apparently this game is also very well optimized and story-driven, which is also good to hear. My main concern with Revelation Online though is that it's being published by my.com as a free-to-play game, a publisher that has handled many pay-to-win games in the past such as Skyforge and Allods Online. I really hope my.com doesn't ruin this game, but I somehow feel as though they might let greed get the better of them, which would be a real shame. Number 3, Gloria Victis. Gloria Victis is a realistic medieval open-world sandbox MMORPG that was recently released as early access on Steam. Unlike the other games on this list, I've actually had the chance to play this game, and from what I've experienced of it so far, I was impressed considering it's still very early in development. Gloria Victis is very much focused on fighting for your faction in mass-scale PvP battles. The game will also have a player-driven economy, classless combat system, complex crafting, non-target combat system, ships and naval combat, as well as dynamic weather with seasons. Despite Gloria Victis being far from finished, I was able to see a lot of potential with this game after playing it, and I especially liked how they dealt with the looting of other players to make it feel rewarding for the victor, but not too punishing for the victim. Overall, it's a very promising crowd-funded MMO that's already starting to look good considering its small 7-man development team. Number 2, Crowfall. Crowfall is a game that's trying to be a hybrid of strategy game and MMORPG. It has stylized graphics and a targetless action combat system. What makes Crowfall unique though is that it's trying to be a throne war simulator, where each server is a unique campaign with a different map and different rules. After a certain period of time, winter approaches and the world dies. When this happens, players must find a new world and a new campaign will begin. This whole concept sounds so cool to me. Crowfall seems like it's trying to be like an MMORPG Game of Thrones, which I have no complaints about. So when you join a campaign in Crowfall, what you'll need to do is join a faction, guild or noble house to fight for the control of land. Apparently there will be no grind in Crowfall, the whole game is endgame and you can contribute and get to the fun part straight away. It seems like the game has multiple victory states similar to Civilization Online, either through glory, wealth or power. One of the coolest features this game will have is world destruction. You'll be able to build siege weapons to destroy enemy bases, level forests and build castles. Crowfall will also have a player-driven economy, crafting system and resource system. I'm so excited for Crowfall as I've always wanted someone to make an MMORPG that feels like Game of Thrones, and for the foreseeable future, this seems like the closest thing we're gonna get. Currently Crowfall has crowdfunded over $7 million from over 128,000 backers and should be going into closed beta towards the end of 2016. Number 1. Chronicles of Illyria. Chronicles of Illyria is trying to be a very unique and ambitious MMORPG where your character actually ages and dies, which encourages you to think beyond just your character to their role in a larger story. The game will have a closed economy, finite resources, non-repeatable quests and a fully destructible environment, which means the world is experienced differently for each character. There's not too many specifics known about this game yet, however from the few videos that Soulbound Studios have released, it looks like your character will be able to climb and flip off rooftops, interact and pick up objects on tables. The game will have a dynamic weather system where snow slowly accumulates on the ground, for example. You can also get married and have kids, then choose whether to have that kid as an NPC or reserve them as a character that you can play once your main character dies of old age. It would also seem as though they're going for a non-targeting combat system, and the game will also feature some kind of building system. Despite its pre-alpha state, the world this game's set in already looks really beautiful, and I'm sure it will improve even more as they get further into development. It's actually hard to summarize the sheer amount of detail and complexity this game's hoping to achieve, so instead I'd recommend clicking the link on screen to the Chronicles of Illyria Kickstarter video where they explain everything in much more depth. Personally, I'm crazy excited for Chronicles of Illyria though. My main concern is that due to it being such a massive project, will they be able to pull it off? It seems like their goal is to make the most detailed and immersive world possible with today's technology. I really hope they can achieve that goal, because if they do, it will be truly incredible. So that's it for this video guys. I hope I've given you a bit of hope for the future with these games. Let me know in the comments below what upcoming MMORPGs you're most looking forward to, and if you're new to the channel then check out some of my other videos for more MMORPG related content. I hope you enjoyed the video, you take it easy and I'll see you again really soon.